This is a collector. I'm not too aggravated with this thing today. I've had a little bit of success, and most of my problems was due to my own
laziness.
No trusting other people's work.
Oh.
Not checking things out thoroughly.
Okay.
What I had an intake leak between the carburetor and the intake manifold, and I can spray that fluid down there, and I can tell that.
Are you gonna turn your light off on top of your head?
I can.
Thank you.
Save the batteries?
Will save my eyeballs.
Okay. I don't know how. Them's the handiest little things. I don't know what we did before we had them. We had a drop light and kept breaking the bulbs and going to the house and stealing bulbs. And
well, what about the guys in the olden days? They used candles. Just think how many fires they started.
Yeah. Guys with lanterns.
Yeah, looking down the carburetor, kablowy. Okay, I'm sorry. I took away your train of thought.
Somebody has installed
Yes'm.
a Needlebrock Performer intake on this engine.
Mm-hmm.
And
it doesn't need a Needlebrock.
it was belching back out of the carburetor and backfiring some and this and that. And what that's usually caused by is a lean fuel condition. Well, a vacuum leak will do that. And I had that leak under the carburetor, and what they had done, they had installed that Needlebrock Performer intake. And it had a gasket like this on the base of the intake, and it was stuck down good, and it looked good to me. So I just got one of these square flange carburetors that I knew was good to have. I got several of them.
Uh-oh, you dropped some parts. Something fell out.
Anyway.
Uh-huh.
And I slapped that on there. That's the right gasket for that.
You slapped it?
That's the right gasket for that.
Uh-huh.
So I put that on there.
Yes.
And that created my vacuum leak because, see, that's a spread bore intake. This here's off of Pontiac. But
you didn't take it off of my 60 Pontiac, did you?
No, it goes on that 400.
Miles, if you're listening, I still want your Pontiac. Oh, boy.
See that gasket for a spread bore carburetor?
Uh-huh. I guess if you say so.
Okay, you put it on the bottom of this.
Mm-hmm.
And see that don't...
It don't fit.
Well, it's not going to seal right here at the edges.
Well, it don't fit.
No, that's not the right gasket. So what I had to do...
Modify.
If you look right here, it's hard to see, but right there, about a 3/4 inch aluminum spacer. And what that is, that's an adapter to adapt a quarter jet to square bore intake or square bore to and I put that on those two gaskets. I got that fixed.
Yes.
And apparently that starter that I had on here, the nose was warped or something.
Uh-huh.
There was something off with that starter.
Oh, it sounded awful.
That had me more aggravated than anything.
I hated to listen to it.
Yeah. Anyway.
Got it in gear where it'll run me over?
Yeah, I got it in low gear.
Oh! Oh, that's much better. Oh, yes, sir. Hey, you better not do it more than 3 times. Wowza. That sounded good.
That's as smooth as it's going to happen because somebody put some kind of cam in there.
Oh.
It's got a real big cam, but it's got a cam in there.
Okay.
I put a vacuum gauge on it and I adjusted the timing. It's right here.
Uh-huh.
So where I could get the highest, steadiest vacuum at the idle.
Uh-huh.
That's as good as it's going to get.
Okay, we'll turn it off so we can hear you.
So now.
At least it don't sound like a cat
What I
squalling.
like having her running.
What do you like having her running?
I'm going to have to go through the wire harness.
Oh, boy. All you got to do is get you some extension cords and run them over there.
Well, I've got the know-how, and I've got plenty of ends and clips and
yeah, but have you got time?
Solder. What?
Have you got the time?
Yeah. Well, and I'm going to redo it anyway because I'm gonna put a internal regulator alternator on instead of that external regulator that's on it. I'm gonna change alternator. And that wires up different. And I'm just gonna go through it and make everything work. I've done that before. I've started out wiring from scratch. That 55 Chevy didn't have a single wire in it when I got it. And what you do, you start out.
Well, why are you worried about wires? It ain't even got no brake lights.
You start out and you get it where it'll start from the key and charge the battery.
That's all you need.
The
rest of the stuff, you put your arm out the window and go right, left, up, down.
You isolate that from the rest of your wiring harness. So if it ever quits running,
I'm being pesky.
You know what's in that part right there. If it quits running or quits charging, it's in that little section of wiring harness you made there. Then for your dash lights and gauges, all that, you make you a second circuit. And you put fuses and all that stuff. And then you do your turn signals and brake lights and all that separate. The factory don't do it that way because that vehicle's coming down that assembly line, and there's guys run up there and they throw this on. They ain't got the time to separate all that out and build that. Old semi trucks was made that way. They had all separate circuits for every little thing, you know, but they do that because of, you know, they're paying an hourly wage, and it's too slow of a process on the assembly line, so they just come up with a wiring harness that some jobber has made for them. They don't even, the factory usually don't make them. It's usually somebody in China or somebody made that wiring harness. They just plug it all in, and one guy, he may only do...
If I worked in China, I'd really mess that thing up.
One guy may come along there and he may just set that wiring harness under and set it around there and screw that one screw in that holds that plug-in in. And then the next guy will hook something else up while this other next guy's putting an alternator on. The next guy might plug that in. And that sucker, that assembly line goes so fast you'd think you'd have to run to keep up with it. But them guys, they do the same thing every day. You know, it's a job I couldn't do.
Oh, I couldn't do it either because I decide to do something different. You know, and they'd have me.
You know, there's guys got jobs on that assembly line where they jump in the truck and they put 2 bolts in.
Wow.
To hold the body of the frame.
And they get paid a whole lot of money?
Well, I don't know. Somebody else might close that truck lid on them if it's still on there, but they usually do that before they put the truck lid on. And the ones they said had the best jobs in the factory.
Yeah. Were the ones that got to test drive it?
No.
No?
These guys that installed the glass. Because them guys that installed the glass, they did all kinds of unnecessary rigmaroles and that, and they was what you call professional time killers.
Yes.
But nobody messed with them because if they messed with them, they'd break 5 or 10 windshields in a row. You learn that boss to jump onto them for not going fast enough. So the guys that installed windshields and
how
back
do you
glasses,
know this?
They was the ones.
How do you know this?
Well, I know stuff. I know people that work in the factory. I know a guy that actually installed windshields. He retired and come back to Arkansas.
Oh, okay.
He told me, he said, they didn't mess with us because we could lose them so much money in a heartbeat.
Oh,
he
dang.
said, we just took our time.
Yeah.
You know, he said, we'd mess up on a bunch of them if they messed with us very much. He said, so they didn't run that assembly line where they installed the glass very fast.
That's right.
Slow.
That's right.
But anyway.
Anyway, you're tickled.
The proof's in the pudding. The proof's in the pudding, folks.
Can I tickle you?
Electronic. And one thing I got to do might make it idle a little better. The plugs are gapped for points ignition. I need to pull all the plugs out and gap them to 45 thousandths. Like a bigger gap you need for electronic ignition is just better. But we're going to do it one more time. And it's just a short video.
Yes. Better.
This is probably.
Well, Howdy, I wish I could.
This is probably the fastest quarter-mile vehicle I own.
Oh, righty.
Yeah, probably. For the, you know.
Oh, what about this little green thing here? Does it go pretty fast?
No, but somebody wanted to know if I used that to go town and get parts.
You must have, because look at all the parts in the back.
Okay, this is the intake manifold that was on that 400. And see, it's a spread bore.
By that,
But
you mean big holly.
Originally, probably had a quadrajet, but when I got it, it had a spread bore holly on it.
Okay.
And the problem with the holly carburetor,
okay.
they're fine if you drive them every day and you kick that down the 4-barrel in and you burn the gas out of that secondary part of the carburetor once a week. But you got a bowl on the front and you got a bowl on the back. If you don't open that 4-barrel up, that gas that's in that bowl in the back will turn around and it'll get stale on you. And
so I should kick the 2-barrel in on my car every once in a while?
Your car ain't got a carburetor.
My car ain't got a carburetor?
Here comes a trooper. Good thing I wasn't out here playing out on the road with the
that's just sheriff.
They won't bother us. One day, this is true. One day, I had an old boom truck over at another place, and you couldn't drive it on the road because it didn't have a radiator at the engine. The heads was cracked and this and that, but you could start it up and run it 5-10 minutes, use it just a little bit. And I had it over another place, and I wanted it down here. And I put a chain on the back of it, a pretty long chain, about 30 foot long, and hooked it to the back of Debbie's daddy's truck and told Debbie to pull me down to the corner. And she didn't want to do it.
No, I didn't want to do it.
She didn't want to do it at all.
Yeah, because it's a piece of that Bob truck's a piece of junk.
I told her I ain't got no brakes. All I got's an emergency breaker and put the truck in gear and spin that old wore out low compression oil. I can't stop real fast. I said, go slow.
So what'd I do, go 80?
So when she took off, she drove like she'd normally just driving. She forgot like she didn't, I wasn't back there. And when she comes here, she just turns off the road and turns in. And I can't stop. So I passed her up.
Was you behind me?
Yeah, I passed her up. And I had this 30, 40-foot chain. And I went down to here, and I drug her backwards out of this driveway out into the highway.
You meanie.
And that chain caught on the back car of that old Bob truck and wrapped around it and locked up and it's stuck right there in the road.
Yay, so you stopped.
We was right there in the road.
Uh-huh.
And this deputy, he's dead now, but he used to work with my oldest son when my oldest son worked at Walmart.
So he knew you was a nut.
He knew me. And he come down through here and he was going this way. And he stopped and he looked at us out there on the road, wound up, you know, and there's no license, insurance or nothing on an old Bob truck. It gets law to pull something down the road with a log chain. And he puts that old car in reverse, he backs up, and he turns and he goes up the hill.
He's smart. He's like, let them solve it.
And I seen him later.
Uh-huh.
And what it was kind of funny. He was chasing a guy down where we lived at the other place. Somebody was fleeing from him.
Uh-huh.
And the guy drove off out in the farmer's field.
Uh-huh.
And he didn't know if that guy worked for that farmer.
Uh-huh.
And he had 4-wheel drive, and he drove down this little trail. And when he drove down that little trail, he went over a big stump. And he cleared it with his 4-wheel drive, and this deputy's after him. And he just drove over and made a circle. And that deputy hits that stump, and he gutted the bottom of that SUV.
Oh, jeepers.
He tore the transmission and all that stuff out because the stump caught it. And he was going to catch this guy.
Okay, can I ask you...
And then the guy drives on out and leaves.
Can I ask you something?
And I asked him, I said, did you lose all your brownie points when you gutted the transmission and rear end out under that squad car? He said, almost all of them. I said, that was you the other day when we was dragging that old truck and got wound up out there on the road. He said, yeah, I did the smart thing. He said, I thought, gee, best thing I can do is pretend I didn't see them. He said, so I pretended I didn't see you and drove away.
Can I ask you something?
What?
Did you singe your eyebrows? Because they look singed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what happened?
No.
You bought me them little bottles for propane torch?
Uh-huh.
I put that on there, and I screwed that brass piece down pretty tight.
Yes'm.
And I used it to heat up a garden hose. So I could flip it over a deal. Well, I went to use that a while ago, and one of the kids had got hold of it and loosened it where it screws to the bottle.
Oh.
And when I struck it, the whole thing burst into flame. It's in my eyebrows.
Yeah, but it missed your beard.
Missed my beard. Got my eyebrows, though.
Dadgummit.
It had to be one of the kids loosen that up.
Well, anyway,
You know?
I guess that's it for this video.
Yeah. And I told a couple little stories.
Because if I don't shut him up, we'll be out here all day.
Now, I gotta bring another truck down here and load all this junk around it.
Well, you know what? If you quit using everything for a table.
And hopefully tomorrow,
yes,
y'all will get to see me video me right out there smoking the rear tires on this truck.
Well, you don't need to do that.
I gotta test it out.
Oh. And then go buy tires, right?
No, I got plenty of tires.
Okay, well, anyway, y'all have a great day. The starter sounds better. Yeehaw!
And it's up belching fire, and it's sitting there idling.
Yes, sounds good.
I wish it didn't have a cam in it. I wish it had
Well,
a
you
cam.
can't.
Well, I don't like a performance camshaft and anything got automatic transmission. I don't mind it a stick shift. Too bad.
Well,
But anything got automatic transmission, I'd just soon have a stone stock, original. GM made a lot of good stock that would idle good and everything. Performance cams for their big block engine. There's no use in buying some aftermarket cam and putting in there and trying to prove what's already about as good as you're ever going to get.
that's right. Stop it, GM. And
Well, I see these race cars all the time.
hey,
And,
I
well,
thought
they got them so souped up and so many parts in them that they, unless they're perfectly tuned,
trying to get a picture of your burnt eyebrows.
unless they're perfectly tuned,
Listen.
they don't run good. But you can take a stock motor that's perfectly
Well, you know what?
tuned,
That's what's
a
wrong
lot of
with-
times you'll outrun that souped up sucker that's got too souped up to run.
You know what? I'm out of tune. I think that's what's wrong with me. I've got a hitch in my get along. You need to tune me up, boy.
No.
No.
Our kids give each other a tune-up all the
No,
time.
jeepers.
There's my tea. I'm going to drink some tea.
Okay.
But I'm tickled.
Yes, he's tickled, everybody.
I left it be for a day.
He left it be.
I
All
didn't
righty.
mess with it and all that.
Well, if I'd have known that, I could have put some sugar down the carburetor for you and helped you
Yeah, I
out.
was here by myself and I cooked myself some ham and eggs.
Oh, you're
And
so
then
sweet.
After I got done watering my garden, and I come out here and Debbie was gone up there at school hollering them people out.
I didn't holler. I was very sweet.
Well, that's why she didn't take me. She didn't.
Yeah, I knew Grumpy Geezer here would give them some. I was
anyway.
sweet, and they were sweet back.
I don't guess I'll tell that.
Don't tell
If somebody
what?
wanted to come in my house without a search warrant, I told them they wasn't getting through the gate.
That's right. And it was me, people. He wouldn't even let me in. Well, y'all have a great day, and be sure and like and subscribe and comment below. And Randall sure likes reading y'all's comments, so comment a lot. And tell all your friends and share the video and share it with everybody, even people you'd rather, you'd rather not. But anyway, y'all.
What did that engine do? Sit there and start and run.
Y'all have a great day, and thanks
Good
for
night,
watching.
good luck, y'all.
Oh, yay, there he goes. And we love y'all, and y'all have the greatest of days. Bye! I don't think I turned it off.